priorities in 2025 lie in the experience economy. We know this, and we have pulled data from the luxury travel sector and luxury retail sector in identifying spend and where consumer patterns are actually taking us. This is now being reflected in weddings and in private events. The number one priority for couples today is experience. How are you bringing experience to your offerings? Do you have the right contacts and the right information and advice to actually offer your services as an experience? People no longer just want the elements. They want the elements talking to each other at weddings, and through experience, they're willing to pay for it. Why do we have recovery parties? Once upon a time, a recovery party was let's meet up after our hangover and have breakfast together. Now we are seeing the experience of massage, of spa, of swim, immersion of water, food. Recovery food is a big component, live stations, all tying into what it means to attend generally a destination wedding. Gone are the days of couples inviting their guests to ceremony and reception and kind of not figuring out what they're going to do between this time. We are seeing couples get more and more considerate around the guest experience. If you are working in the wedding industry today and you're thinking, where are my opportunities? They're in destination wedding. The wedding destination market is doubling year on year, which means you're probably going to be receiving more inquiries for destination weddings than you have in the past. People now are RSVPing for destination weddings on par, if not more, than local weddings. So for the couples who are thinking, I'm going to have a destination wedding and invite everyone and then be like, oh no, a lot of people won't come. They're coming. They're packing their bags as soon as they receive that invitation. They're planning their entire European or Middle Eastern or wherever it is trip around your wedding. We're actually finding a bit of a trend, and I don't really like the word trend, but we are finding that couples are actually investing time and energy in understanding the history of weddings within their own families and pulling out some cultures and some traditions that they may not have even been aware of. We are seeing destination weddings take place where there is an adaptation of local customs and culture. The most important thing here is to bring in a local expert who can actually explain what all of this means, because you want to be doing this authentically in your wedding. I'm going to refer to, for example, the haka, and some people loving that and thinking, I'd love to do a haka at my wedding. Okay, that sounds wonderful, but is this something that you should be doing? Is this something that is culturally significant to you, or is it just a fun dance? Because for that particular culture, it is so much more significant than just that. Versus, for example, the Lebanese drums, which some people are adapting to their wedding because they're wanting to bring a little bit of flavor. And so from that perspective, that is not considered as significant culturally or cultural appropriation as the haka, for example. So this is why you need people who are of that culture or planners who understand different cultural elements to really say, yes, we can do this. No, we can't do that. I think it's so important that we actually storytell, that we actually talk about why certain decisions were made around the wedding. What did the couple really want? And how did you bring that to life? Whether you're a photographer, whether you're a dress designer, whether you're in venue, what was the brief? What came to you? And then what actually happened? So it's the before and after, and it's the experience. You've shared a carousel from a wedding and you've written right at the bottom that the bride's from Czechoslovakia and the groom's from Poland and they had a wedding in Dubai. That's not enough. What did you learn about these cultures? What surprised you working on this wedding? What inspired you to continue working in this market? All of these things matter, and it needs to be part of your story, because that's what builds the identity of your brand, your passion, and your business in this market. When you're briefing 2 florists on your wedding, and florists who are creative and work with different floral arrangements and work with different structures and different ways of producing a floral arrangement, can come back with vastly different quotes for what you think is the same product, unless you actually break it down in terms of the number of years, the experience, the delivery, the service, the care for the flowers, where they source their flowers from. Comparing that online and jumping in front of camera and saying, I got a quote for $5,000, $15,000, and $50,000, which, let me tell you, happens in this market for what you think is the same thing, it can be wildly different. Some florists can use silk flowers. For those who are looking for fresh flowers and they want whatever is in season, or if they're looking for things that are out of season, those flowers need to be imported. Do you know how much it costs to import flowers? These are the things that need to be considered. The more particular you are and the more you're set on a particular style, the less flexible the budget's going to be. You need to have what I believe is a CRM and a workflow to manage your invoicing, and you cannot just be relying on the memory of the customer to pay you. You don't just send the invoice and hope that they understand it. You make it clear that this is how the invoice will be paid, these are the payment terms, and that is not negotiable in terms of when payments are due. Are we clear on this? Does this make sense? Let's go through the contract so we're both on the same page in terms of expectations. Ghosting is something that is paramount in the wedding industry right now because couples are contacting you through 7 modes of communication after they've gotten the answer that they want. And a lot of the issues in the industry is that many of you are just sending out your packages and your pricing. This is what I can do for you. Here's a breakdown. Contact me if you need me. That is not how you service a customer, right? So the reason that they're ghosting you is because you're giving away the cow and you're not selling the milk. So what we need to do is we need to ensure that we build a connection with our customer, giving them the information that they're looking for, whilst also servicing them in a way where they come back with more questions. A lot of the times, the window shoppers of Instagram do ghost because guess what they're doing? They are window shopping and there's nothing you can do about it. But if you've received a serious inquiry and it's come through your website or it's come through email and this person has followed you up and you have sent through your details and they have ghosted you, you need to be able to approach the ghost. Don't be afraid of the ghost. Don't be afraid of the contract. Approach it and approach it head on using your expertise, your knowledge and your advice in order to be able to keep that customer engaged in what it is that you can do. There's no such thing as sounding desperate. Give them information, educate them through your response and get that meeting locked in order to be able to move forward. Platforms now that have AI functionality are matchmaking couples with venues and suppliers and service providers and styles based on their preferences. So what's happening is consumers are jumping on AI tools such as ChatGPT, such as Gemini, and searching and actually asking questions. I'm looking to have a wedding in Lake Como. Who are the service providers I should connect with? Give me the top 5 venues. Give me 5 planners that plan destination weddings in Lake Como. No longer are they asking these questions to Google, they're asking these questions to these platforms. And if you don't have this information on your websites, and if you are not being featured on other sites discussing these very topics, you are not going to appear in search on ChatGPT, on Gemini AI and other AI tools that are now not only being used for consumers to plan their weddings, but also to seek, to search, and to find you. We are in an unregulated market, largely all around the world. Anyone can become a wedding planner tomorrow. Anyone can become a photographer. And many people who actually started in the industry started with a side hustle. They then had to figure out how to build a business off the back of their talents. We can no longer rely on social media to drive all of our business. We need to be considering what referrals actually look like and connections actually look like that can strategically align us with businesses we want to be working with to ensure that we are driving business to each other. So rather than sitting in our own little silos, fragmented, trying to figure out how to connect with each other. Now imagine that you're part of a network that actually exists all the time, online, at your fingertips. This is what we're building. We've recognized that networking and the power of a network is not just getting everyone in the same room. It's about sharing the right information so they know how to strategically network. Working in the wedding industry, which is an emotional purchasing market, is challenging. 85% of businesses are run by people who are generally solopreneurs or entrepreneurs that are building out of family houses and community in their businesses. How do you actually stay ahead of how to manage in a crisis? How to troubleshoot? How to get ahead of what might happen, working in different environments, working with different types of people. These are all of the things that we need to be sharing, because knowledge is power, and we will only grow as an industry if we actually share how we overcame some of the obstacles, of which continue to evolve with the types of weddings and events that you guys are hosting. Having a support group that actually can hear you out, where you can share, I'm in this predicament, or I have a couple who's asking for this. Has anyone had something similar happen? That is integral. We are now exposed to economic factors, political factors, technological factors, and we need to be ahead of the curve in knowing how this is going to impact our business. And the only way that we can do that is real-time information being shared from all over the world, and of course moderated by the Wedded Wonderland team, understanding what changes are taking place, cultural shifts that are taking place, and these nuances that actually really do impact our businesses. This is what our feed within our network is going to be presenting, and we're so excited to give you this live data and information that can change and shift the way that you do business.